hopefully if anybody is trying to watch it, they can see it. So, hi Lori,
Hi, Kara.
how are you?
I'm frazzled in a good way.
I love it. Well, just to clue people in, oh wait, hold on. I wanted to record this too.
Yeah.
Let me record it. Okay. So thank you, Lori, for being here today. Thank you for those who are watching the live stream now or the recording later. Lori and I were just wanting to get together for a live stream. What actually happened was I was going to go live. I used to do this like months ago. I stopped going live. Life just caught up with me. It was hard for me to make time to do it. And recently I'm like, I want to start doing that again. So I was like, I'm going to go live today on YouTube because there have been some things that it's more like conversations I've had with friends where
Mhm.
I'm like, I want to like have a bigger conversation about this. And then you and I had been WhatsApping yesterday and it flowed so perfectly with things that I'm experiencing. And then you're like, oh my God, me too. And then we know that we're getting just from like paying attention to other sources around us. It's like, okay, we're seeing like other people talking about stuff
Yep.
like this. So I was really excited to just explore this. And then I'm like, oh my God, Lori should come on my live with me today. So
And I'm
this is
like,
perfect.
yes.
Yes. And then the time just, and you bent time to be able to join.
I actually really did. That was pretty impressive because I should be about 20 minutes out from where I was. And I was like, universe, I need to be with Kara right at this moment. And sure enough, it all aligned.
And there we go. Awesome.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, one of the things that caught my attention yesterday is we were just having a little back and forth of you wanted to share something that you'd come across that was really impactful to you,
Hmm.
and you were like, "Have you heard of this person?" and so forth. And then from there, it was like little things that we're experiencing, each of us. And you said, "Oh my God, I'm doing this. I'm having the same similar things." Um, one of the profound things, and this it's so funny because we have to use words for it. And I
Hmm.
feel like when I try to use words for it, it doesn't come across as profoundly as I experienced it because
Same.
it sounds so simple. But couple days ago, a few days ago, I was driving and I just suddenly noticed that I felt so peaceful. And it was like morning time, like my kids had just gone to school. I don't even remember where I was going, but it was the
Hmm.
beginning of the day, which normally is like, okay, organize my thoughts, what all has to get done. And I'm kind of trying to organize on the fly. And it just naturally makes you feel a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious. I would never describe myself as an anxious person, but
Right.
I feel that like anticipation and okay and wanting to remember things, remember that
Yes.
you want to get this done, remember, and it's kind of like holding on. I felt like I feel like I just hold on to these things so that I don't forget them, and I don't really recognize how that makes me feel
Hmm.
because I just do it all the time, and I think a lot of people do this. But I just happened to notice, like, oh my God, I feel so good. And it
Yeah.
was like this complete relaxation, this complete okayness. And even though I was on my way somewhere, I didn't feel this like, am I going to be late or am I, like, am I going to have time for the next thing I need to do? And all of these things. It was just like I was completely present,
Hmm.
just in the car.
Yeah.
And what it reminded me of is this is, I don't know if you listened to the latest Michael Massey episode that I had.
Not yet. Nope,
Okay.
but I want to.
So we talked about kind of all the magnetics, things that you and I love to talk about too, with the solar flares, the
Human.
geomagnetics.
Uh-huh.
And somebody that I've heard of recently or something I came across, I can't even remember if it was like a podcast guest or if I read it or where it came from,
Hmm.
but they were talking about that our memories are magnetic and we hold on to them magnetically. Have you heard this?
And it makes so much sense. I have not heard memories being connected to magnetic, but as soon as you said it, I have was like, yep. There was a
Yeah.
knowing. Yep.
So, and I think that I mentioned that with Michael too, where I'm like, did you tell me that? You know, where did I get this from? I feel like I heard it outside of myself, but I can't get my finger on where it came from.
Yep.
But it in that those moments of just noticing, like, oh my God, I feel so good. I felt so light. I felt so
Mm,
free. And I wasn't meditating. And I thought, and it felt as though my magnetics had released or
yeah.
dropped or something. It felt like I just dropped and I was just in the moment.
Yeah.
I wasn't tied to the past and I wasn't tied to the future. I just noticed this total relaxation and it just felt so good. And what's funny about it, why I'm like, I'm probably not going to convey this very well because how many times are we told, like, just be present? Be present,
Yep.
present moment awareness. That's where it's at. That's where you're really going to connect present moment awareness. And I practice present moment awareness, especially in meditation, but
Yeah.
even outside of meditation, when I can notice, like, okay, get into that 0 point, get into that center.
Yep.
And it's like, but it was like, it was as though I didn't have a past
Yeah.
and I didn't care at all about the future.
Yep.
And it felt, there was definitely a magnetic quality to it
Mm,
that maybe I just inferred on my own. I don't know. But
yep.
anyway, so I shared a tiny, tiny little bit of that with you yesterday, and you were like, oh my God, same thing. So I know that you've had like a similar kind of experience or Lori's version of something similar. So I'd love to hear
Yeah.
what's been going on with you.
Well, you nailed it. Like that, the way you said that right there, there wasn't any past, there isn't any future, but the present moment. And it's not this like I don't care mode. It's literally just everything's okay. Like it was just like that peaceful, like washing over of like this. I just knew that everything's fine, like everything's on track. And that peace wave was washing over. But at the same time, it was just this expanded consciousness state, both here and then here in the heart space. And it was just this knowing and then like this validating feeling is what I was having. And it was wild. Like I, again, WhatsApp, my good friend Holly, I was talking to her on there and doing the same thing. And I was like, I just am really at peace. I was like, can you believe this? Like, different things that maybe have been a trigger or stuff I've been dealing with in the past or whatever. I was relaying these things to her and I was like, yeah, it doesn't even faze me anymore. Like, I'm not even fazed by it because I see from this higher absorber role of everything. And I'm like, I see why this is happening or why this person is doing this or why I created this in my reality. And I just had this whole like high, broad perspective view. You can call it of the simulation of the game, however you want to look at that. But it was just this knowing of like, hmm this is literal. This is happening. 5D is a thing. Higher consciousness is a thing. Heart expansion is a thing. And I've been having these, kind of like bliss wave moments where it's just washing over. And like you said, these memories and these knowings and activations of like, this is no longer like theory and like, oh, when is this happening? Or like, oh, is this really a thing? Kind of going in between like your 3D, 5D brain. I feel like something clicked in where it all just like harmonized. And it was like, yes, this is real. This is a thing. We are going into higher consciousness. And like fear was dropped. Like you said, that peace, that knowingness, that present state, all of that was just, and it's just hanging around. And then layer on top of that synchronicities, the manifestations, the magnetism. Like it is wild the things that are going on for me personally right now of just all of this stuff coming at me in my field of all these wonderful things I've been trying to create or I've been visualizing. And it's like, boom, they're here now, and it's just exciting. It's really an exciting time. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I
And
love that. I love the
bliss
bliss
waves,
waves.
waves of
Yes.
bliss.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and something that made me think of too is just like those waves. It feels like, or it sounded like it was similar for you, where it was almost like just this organic thing that you weren't
Yep.
necessarily trying to get to.
Hmm.
And that for me is the 5D piece to it, because
Hmm.
I feel like there, again, I'm not a stranger to this like sense of peace and this
Right.
sense of okayness, but so often I'm creating it in
Hmm.
meditation, for example,
Hmm.
and I'm putting the energy and the effort into getting myself into that state. I'm using techniques, I'm using methodologies,
Yep.
I'm talking to myself to use these tools that I have that help
Hmm.
to induce that state for me. I feel that 5D is that's just how it is. And that there is this like true release, like of what we know and the habits that we have. Because the piece also that was so interesting is that when I noticed it and I kind of like automatically did this, like, well, what do I normally feel like? So why does this feel like, why does this, oh, it felt so natural, but I also recognize the specialness of it.
Yeah.
And it was like, so what would I normally be doing? And I could feel this contraction and my mind searching for what I would be grabbing onto.
Yep.
Because normally I'm planning, like in my mind, I'm planning or I'm worrying or I'm like, but it's a lot of like I'm holding on to things and it's
Yeah.
like I'm like grabbing things of like, oh yeah, this and this and this. And whether it is again like things to worry about or things to consider or whatever, but it's the thought, it's thoughts, it's
Yep.
memories, it's identification. All of those things are constantly like firing and it's like they have teeth and we're just holding them in our energy field. And and it was just like all of this was like there was nothing to hold it.
Right. Yes. Like as
Right.
if that barrier had been removed and it was in this flow state. And it still feels like that, where it's like, it's more of like not coming from here and that like conscious thought, you know what I mean? It's more of like, oh, this is popping up, flow with this. Oh, I don't know why this is happening, but I don't even have to figure it out. I don't even want to figure it out. I just
Yeah.
know that it's the next step or it's the next thing in my life. And so let's flow with it, see where it goes. There's just more of this like open trust feeling that I was having as well, where it was like, I don't need to know because I already know. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this, like you said, this memory magnet thing. And I love that of how you articulated that because it's a very light feeling. But I will say the body sometimes feels dense because my consciousness feels so high and it feels so light and that your vibration is going so fast. Your frequency is fast because you're in this higher state of consciousness and kind of bliss wave feeling. But yes, I've noticed that too. It's like normally where I would maybe process, analyze, and then maybe get anxious about X, Y, and Z. I'm just in this flow state and having fun and kind of watching it and being like, it's almost like comical because it's like, this is so funny, like that all this is happening. Like it's so obvious right now at this point. It's just, you don't feel like you need to convince anybody of anything. You just know like the pattern for your life and kind of what's next in a way, even though you don't know, but you do know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
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 Wild.
It's so wild. And the other piece that has come up a few times in the last couple of days is the notice it's very similar, but it's more around tension within the body. So like especially around my solar plexus. I think you and I talked about that
Yeah.
longer ago, but
Yep.
like I have been getting a lot of um, discomfort in my solar plexus for this has been going on off and on for weeks.
Yeah.
And I think was it the same for you? I know you've had a lot of like
So
sinus stuff, but
mine's been it's so funny because it seems like it's one or the other. You're either having the upper stuff or you're having the lower. You are the fifth person that has told me about the lower GI, solar plexus, those types of chakras and those areas. Mine is been mine's usually always neck up, but head pressure, the eye stuff, a lot of skin issues were happening, and that has all kind of cleared up. But it's been a lot of like, yeah, activations from my upper chakras is what it feels like. But you're not alone in what you're talking about. That is what a lot of my friends and clients have been coming to me about too. So
yeah.
It's
It's
interesting.
it is interesting, and mine doesn't feel food related because it's
Right.
so high.
Yep.
Um, but it's and I even had it today, and but there's I noticed, I think it was yesterday, where I could just feel this contraction,
Mhm.
and it was like the band of the solar plexus. It was like this really thin line of energy
Wow.
around right around my but the whole of my solar plex like the whole of my body extending horizontally from the solar plexus, and it was just this like clamping, but it was almost like I imperceptible until I shifted my awareness to that area, and then it was just like let go.
Hmm.
And so I like relaxed more, and then it dissolved, but it was very strange,
Yep.
and a bigger like what's the word I want to like bigger span
Yeah.
of area
Yeah.
than what I had, because normally it's just that concentrated like a sphere, like the solar plexus, like
Hmm.
a cluster. But that's been
But this
interesting
felt more like wrap around, you would say, like a belt, would you say?
yeah, but inside too.
Okay.
Like a whole like section, or
Okay.
like if you were going to take a cross section,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. What I've been kind of seeing or feeling is like with myself and clients, what seems to be happening is like the energy is getting balled up because every time, like with myself and with others, if I keep wanting to do this like pulling taffy technique, and where I even with my own, like when it's kind of getting congregated up in my third eye area, I just want to like pull it and stretch it. And that's whenever I feel it with doing Reiki or whatever with my clients in the stomach area, it feels like this tight, hard ball. And I just want to, stretch that out because it's like the energy is congregating in one area or the other. And like you said, as soon as you move that awareness and you start pulling and stretching it, it levels out and you can kind of move it through the body a little bit easier because it's heavy of it activations is what's coming in. I mean, we're holding a lot of light that's pouring in, solar flares, Schumann spikes, all that kind of stuff. It is a thing. And moving it through, but awareness, like what you just said, all you had to do is put intention there and the awareness and it moved. And that's huge.
Yeah.
That's big
Yeah.
manifesting energy.
Yeah, the energies are so high right now and
Mhm.
so strong, which is exciting,
Yep.
and just they have their side effects too. So
They do. But it's kind of cool. Like I've started kind of looking at it too of just like how cool is this that we could be in a human, 3D vessel body, all that we are, but also packing in all of this higher consciousness knowledge, being aware of even being able to talk about these concepts. 10 years ago, we couldn't even fathom understanding how you can have multidimensionality and this, shifting into a higher dimension. I mean, that would seem foreign,
yeah.
just recently, to talk about. So the fact that we can do this is really cool, that we are being given all of this excess light to encode and run those frequencies through our body to get us where we want to be. I mean, it just really gets me so excited that we're at a stage now in consciousness and humanity that we can do this. And it's what I'm getting like full body chills. This is what I've been looking for, the past 2 or 3 years, and was like, I know this is going to happen. I know this is real. I know we're going to this. The shift and all of these things are happening. I want to see some tangibility, and now we're seeing it. And that gets me really excited.
Yeah. Well, and you've had a ton, like you've been in full on like creation mode lately. So do you want to share a little bit about what's been showing up and
It's
manifesting for you?
It's wild. Like it's literally the creativity. It is. I'm sure you're feeling, I think everybody's kind of feeling this aspect of I just want to create. I don't even care what the product is or what it is. I just want to create. So, it may be coming in the form of songs or, poems. I'm doing kids' books and these different things, but there's also still some, I guess, 3D elements pouring in with marketing, but even that's turning into these like more exciting 5D concepts of let's take marketing, but let's move it into purpose and unlocking people through a brand. It's just weird how all these things are morphing and shifting. But yeah, it's just been one thing after another of new projects, new ventures, but new people coming into my life aligning so synchronistically that you couldn't. It's blowing me away of like how it's happening and these recognitions when you look at these people and it's like, I know you, my soul knows you, you know me. And it's like this instant, bond and with strangers, but they're not strangers, they're coming into your field and into your life because these are soul family, and you're meant to create and do life with them. And it's just really cool. So yes, there's new songs on the horizon. I think I was on when we talked about Tethered Hearts. That was 2 years ago. That song was a poem of mine. And Shaylee Scott, a Colorado artist, she did that one and she just read. That was another synchronicity. I had been thinking about her. The song came on my playlist. I was talking about her. 4 hours later, she's emailing me saying, I've been thinking about you. Do you want to do a song again? And so that's on the table and we're working on that. So it's just been some really cool things. I could list off about 5 or 6 more of things that have happened like that. And it's a cool time. I just encourage everybody to take advantage of it and to, don't get bogged down by the maybe the physicality of what's going on. Just to understand and just recognize that it's just part of the process and it's okay. Nothing's wrong. Everything's actually really right, and just keep moving your consciousness into that like higher realm of anything's possible and dream and imagine and use your imagination to tap into that intuition of what you really want to do because sky's the limit right now. It's really
Mm,
cool. So
yeah,
yeah. Yep.
I love it. Well, thank you, Lori. This has
Yeah.
just been great. Is there anything that comes to mind as we kind of wrap up here that you would be
I
disappointed if we didn't talk about?
I know. I do want to encourage people that some of the videos that I was telling you about, this Franco Romero, I think I'm saying his last name right, were really activating for me this week. He was talking about some of these same concepts. So, we can link to some of his videos or whatever. But yeah, just that concept of the shift and how we are shifting and we are going to move into this new realm. You know what I mean? There's a lot that is coming for us. And to stay out of fear and whatever's kind of being pummeled your way and just don't get distracted by it. Like stay on your own path, stay on what brings you joy, really, really listen to your energy system, like really listen to when does your energy drop? Like when do you feel that vibration drop? Is it something you've watched or you've heard or you're taking in? Then just leave it, stay in that higher state of things that bring you joy. So just be really mindful of what you're taking in and how much because you create your own reality. And so,
Yeah,
just put in your field what you want to have and how you want to feel.
I
So,
love
yeah.
it. That's a great reminder.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, thank you so much,
You're
Lori. This has
welcome.
been so much fun. I knew
I
it would
love
be.
talking with you.
Me too. All right. Well, and let's say before we finish, I'm going to have a live stream with you and Sarah
Yeah.
with your Into the Blue channeling.
Yes.
That is coming next month. So everybody
Yes.
can sign up. I'll try to remember to put a link in the notes so that you can sign up and you can join us on the Zoom.
Yep.
And there'll be Palladian channeling, and that's going to be super, super activating as well.
Yeah. Give us your questions. We love to present the questions and see what we get. So that's always fun for us. So yeah, get to thinking of what those might be.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Lots of love.
Well, thank you, Kara. I
Bye.
love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.